Hello and welcome back. I have breaking news, and that is that I have finished Ninth House and I just gave it 5 stars. And if this sounds like I'm starting a vlog in the middle of a thought, I kind of am. Hi, I'm Alana. How are you? So yes, I did just finish Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This is going in my top reads of 2022. I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited to yell about it some more. But this is not the reason for the vlog, though it is related. The reason for this vlog is Hellbent. This is the sequel to Ninth House. These covers. This isn't the final cover because I was lucky enough to get an ARC or an advanced reader copy, which means that as of filming this, this has not yet been released. But I'm hoping to do a release day vlog. So, across this video, I am going to be reading this and I'm going to be giving you my spoiler-free thoughts on it, and then hopefully at the end, I might dive in to like a 5-minute discussion on spoilers. But the majority of this is going to be spoiler-free, and I'm so excited to jump into this one. Let's just take a second and look at it. So, this is it. We've got a lot of different things happening. So the back of it says Alex Stern is back, and this time it's going to be one hell of a ride. The long-awaited sequel to Ninth House. I mean, I don't feel like it's been long-awaited for me because I've only just jumped on the Ninth House bandwagon. It is the best thing, hands down, that Leigh Bardugo has ever written. I will stand on this hill and I will die on it. So we're gonna jump right in. I'm gonna get started. My battery light is flashing at me. All right. Let's go! Good morning! So this is me popping back in. As you can see, I've already read the first 100 pages of this, so I need to update you on this. I will quickly just say that even though this vlog is mostly spoiler-free, I can't promise that it isn't going to mention something about book 1, but this has been out long enough now that I feel like people have gotten to it. So now we have this one. I also forgot to say in the intro that the front of this says some doors are meant to stay closed, and it's got like the rabbit on it. This isn't the final cover. The cover will look something like this, and I love the snake and the rabbit and how eerie it looks. I'm here for it. These covers do a really good job of showing you that there are graphic horror elements in these books, so it's very much doing the right thing with its marketing, I feel like. Anyway, so yes, reading update time. I am up to chapter 12. I'm on page 111 and things are happening. So this is where I might talk a little bit of spoilers for book 1. So in 3, 2, 1, here we go. Darlington. His storyline. I loved seeing his chapters from him in the first book, and then I started getting really worried when we stopped hearing from him, and then we find out that he is most likely trapped in hell and they want to go find him, they being Alex and Dawes, but nobody else feels like he can be returned, reclaimed or whatnot. The whole idea of the gentleman demon, I'm loving that, and yeah, it's come back up and I am already fearful for some of my favorite characters. We've got another mystery going on in this one. In the first one with that first main murder thing, and then we had Turner come into it, the detective. A similar thing is happening again in this one, and I like the structure of that. I like how we've got a central focus and then we've got everything else happening around it, and then we've got everything again. It kind of layers the narrative really well. So we've got another dead body that doesn't look naturally caused type death. Words hard. It's the morning time. And we've also got someone from Alex's past coming back into this one too, which very realistic to re-include that. I just feel really bad for Alex about that. But yeah, all that to say, I'm already 100 pages into this and I'm loving it. Again, similar structure to the first one. I will say that that prologue at the start though, can't wait to learn where we're going with that, because that was a lot. That was a lot, and that was kind of spooky too. So I don't do horror. But this has horror elements in it, and I'm in for a ride, I think. So anyway, that's my update for right now. I'm 100 pages in. I'm really liking it. It's still atmospheric. Alex is already going through some stuff. There's another murder, And Dawes, I'm just really feeling for her as well, because without Darlington there, she's kind of drifting. And I really hope that she gets a badass moment again, because I feel like she's got that in her. But there you go. I'm off to work, so I will see you later. Hello. I'm probably chopping off my head, but that's fine. I am getting ready for work, so I'm going to pack my bag and give you a few more thoughts on Hellbent. So I really love Dawes. I think I've kind of mentioned this, but she is coming to the forefront a bit more within this one, and I'm really liking the space that she's getting within the story. We're also seeing a little bit more. Also, I always pack my bullet journal in my book sleeve because life is hectic at the moment and I've got stuff to do, so I need that to stay on track. We're seeing more of Alex's roommates as well. Just a little bit more, not like a whole bunch more. This is also the thought notepad. It's also for story and things like that. Story ideas. We're seeing more of her roommates. I don't know what that means for the story, but that's okay. I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying the reality of the story. So like, it's very clear that whenever Alex disappears to go do something like magic related, her friends are actually noticing that she's gone, and she says like the excuses are wearing thin and all that sort of thing. So it makes sense that certain things are gonna come up. I'm doing a very poor way of explaining this, but her friends are coming into it more. That's all you really need to know. So they are Mercy and Lauren, maybe? Probably getting that wrong, that's fine. I'm also enjoying the structure of the book. I think I've already kind of said this, but it's, oh, and that's done, so, okay. I get distracted really easy. I'm loving the structure of the novel because there are murders happening again. We know that. But the way that mystery intertwines with the uncanny aspect makes it really accessible, I think, as an urban fantasy novel. And Bardugo is doing a really good job of combining these two different worlds and making it seem very normal and like this could actually happen. Like, I am fully prepared to get on board and believe the fact that there are secret magical witch societies in the world now after reading Hellbent and Ninth House. There's also a bit of a quest element in this one, which I'm very enjoying, but it's darker, obviously, because I would also kind of put this as grim dark, because you're seeing rituals where people's intestines are getting pulled out of their body to be read to forecast certain financial gains and things like that. That's what I mean when I say like it's blending the real world and the magic together really well, because it's using magic for financial gain and for like mundane things like money and wealth and power hungry people. That's a really cool element and theme in this. I also really enjoy the little excerpts. We've got those again, where at the start of some chapters, I was going to say all, but it's not, it's like most chapters, there's a little catalogue of magical artifacts that Dawes has been cataloguing for Leigh, and it just tells you when Leigh got that item, who they got it from, and the little bit of history behind it. And I love when books use that as a framing device for some of the chapters, because then you know within that chapter that some sort of topic is going to come up surrounding that, and it's doing that. I really love that. In comparison, Brandon Sanderson did that in his Mistborn trilogy, and for a while you're kind of thinking, how does this relate to this? And then it clicks and it does, and you go, wow, that's really clever. So that's happening in this too, as a little like stylistic writing choice. Greys and how they can interact with Alex is also coming up more, and we're learning more about that. I don't classify that as a spoiler because you would have learnt some of that from the first book already, but just know we're having some more experiences with interacting with the Greys, with the ghosts. And yes, overall, still really enjoying it. Again though, like Ninth House, this is not a book to speed read, it's a book to savor and to take in and to appreciate as you're going along. I am this far through now, so I'm on page 156, and I think I started this vlog, I want to say maybe 5 or 6 days ago. I like to dip in and out of it as I feel like it. I'm not forcing myself to speed read through this, and because I'm purposely doing this vlog as a stream of consciousness and not as a this is Monday, this is Tuesday, this is Friday, blah, I think it's going to be okay. So yes, savoring it and enjoying it. I am really loving that little, how did I say it? Quest. I'm loving the quest element, the really dark quest that they've got to go on. And that's where I'll leave you for today. It's my last day of my working week, so I have had a coffee and I've already eaten and I am feeling good and ready to go. I've already had a full bottle of water today, so I'm just taking care of myself, which I should do all the time, but sometimes I forget to. So I'm feeling good, and I'll talk to you again soon. Also, random TBR check-in. This is what my TBR currently looks like. These are all the books that I have not yet read. This one's looking super shiny. It is Lenny Marks Gets Away with Murder. I'm feeling like this might be a kind of cozy crime, so I'm excited for that. Here's some more. These have all been out for a little bit now. These are more kind of my arcs and random things. Then we go down. There's some more again. And then some more again. I am really excited for this, but I need to be in an ancient history mood for that. Yeah, it's a little bit out of control, but it's fine. We're getting there. I've still read over 70 books this year, but you wouldn't be able to tell by looking at this because this doesn't look like I've even made a dent. But that's fine. Actually, if there's anything that you see on this that you want me to read and talk about on the channel, write it in the comments below. Shout it out. Tell me what I should read and review. Okay, bye. No, she didn't. Did she? Oh fuck, she did. Me in this moment are exactly what Alex's internal monologue is. She just got asked, but what exactly are you, honey lamb? And internally she says, fucking terrified. Me too. Me too! Okay. How she can still be funny in a moment like this. There's more internal monologue, but I can't tell you what it says because that's a big spoiler. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. I'm on page 192 of the ARC copy, which is I've just started chapter 21. She just added something to the story, which I did not think she'd add. Shit. The world just got blown open. The world just got blown wide open. I'm gonna go process that and finish getting ready, and then I'll come back. Good morning. This is me really quickly jumping on to give you a page update before I head off to work for the day. So I am on page 250 now. We're this far through. I'm gonna say that is pretty much smack bang halfway. And some characters are in a dangerous situation. Sorry, Evie's here. Some characters are in a perilous situation, and I'm worried. I'm really worried. I'm really worried. Hello. I did read a moment a few pages ago. Let me find it and then I'll tell you about it. Okay, so there's a scene. Again, this is the advanced reader copy, so things could get changed between this edition and the final published edition. And I'm not going to read directly from the page because of that, but it just, again, highlights the setting of magic within the real world in the context of Leigh Bardugo's world system, which I love the realistic element of it. So Alex has to go, throughout the first book she does this too, so this isn't a spoiler, but she has to go to these different rituals that the secret society houses do because she's the overseer, just to make sure that everything goes fine and that nothing evil happens. So she attends a ritual and made me feel a little bit ick when I was reading it, but that's the point. So she was saying how there was a pop singer, so it's people from the real world who don't practice magic. They apply for the services of these societies to help them with their careers, with their life, with their goals and aspirations. So a pop singer decided to partake in this ritual, and it says how they had to sit in a chair and a certain type of bird was placed in their mouth, and it was secured with like a bridle of some sort so the bird couldn't get out of their mouth. They waited for this bird to excrete down their throat, and this was meant to bring back their wonderful singing voice. Made me gag. And basically Alex is saying how that's the truth of magic. That is the bare bones of magic, and that's what people don't realize magic actually is. Instead, they think it is conquering an ogre or the evil witch, or magic is always good. But it's not. Magic is there to serve a purpose, and magic is there to further people's ambitions. And again, I really love that inclusion because it's on brand for these books. The tone that it's setting is also very on brand. So yeah, she does deduce that the problem isn't with books and fairy tales, it's only that only shows you a small portion of magic. And it doesn't show you the other gross bird shitting down someone's throat side of things. So, the tone of this is still really holding up, but yes, I am this far through and scary things are happening. Like, scary things are happening. I was reading this last night before bed and goosebumps on my arms because a big thing is happening. I'm also worried because a big thing is happening right here, and I feel like that's just going to not go down well because we've still got a little while to go. I'm scared. Let's do it. Let's descend into scary territory.
I'm so excited for this. And honestly, share, essay, talk recording, do no wrong for me. I know it's like when I've read in the past, I know it's not for everyone. It's like some things that could happen here that maybe already
I have a very big update to info dump on you, but I'm running behind this morning, so it's going to have to wait. Just know I've reached part 2 of the book. I've got this much left. Okay, I'll fill you in soon, hopefully before I finish it. Howdy, it's time for that check-in. I've just finished work and gotten home, and yeah, we got to talk about this book. Before we do that, I have book mail. So let's show you that because it's very exciting. I emailed Walker Books a little while ago and hadn't heard anything, so I didn't think this was happening. But they sent me a copy of Gleanings by Neil Schusterman. I don't know why I paused then. Of course I know who this is by. This is short stories set in the world of Scythe, which is a trilogy that I really loved. It's called The Ark of the Scythe, I think, is the trilogy name. The first book is Scythe. Anyway, really, really good utopia, but not utopia type setting. I loved it. So I was very happy to get this. Thank you very, very much. Walker Books, Australia. They even spelt my name right. Bless. So this is great to have. The way that I got it from the post person today was not so great. They must have been having a very bad day, and I will just leave it at that. So that's my book mail. And now let's check in. So I am currently up to page 410. I'm this far through. I have this little bit left. It's all happening. I even started putting little tabs in here because stuff was happening very, very fast, and I didn't want to have to stop and think about it and tell you about it. I just wanted to keep on smashing through it and reading it. So the tabs went in instead. So let's have a look. Oh, there was this really cool part where we get 4 different people's perspectives back to back to back. And that, I really loved that because we got to see and hear from some people that we hadn't heard from before, but who we had seen through Alex's point of view. So that was really cool. Also, Leigh Bardugo really did just be making me hate a character who has not much relevance to this story, who wasn't introduced before this, but who is an antagonist to one of these perspectives that we got. It's a certain somebody's cousin, and I'll leave it at that. I only knew this person for a couple of pages, and I hate the shit out of them, so props to the author for being able to get such a powerful reaction from me. Next thing is I'm really enjoying how this author is introducing some urban fantasy elements and making them her own. Yeah, I think that's how I'm going to put that without spoiling things. We get someone who has really good intuition, and I like how that comes up. We also had a little section where this rabbit came up, and I was a bit confused. So I think that tab was just confusion until later on where it came up again, and then it was terrifying. Ooh, some really kick-ass moments too. Like, Alex gets to have a couple of really good moments here as well. And she's learning more about herself. She's learning more about her abilities. And some cool shit happens. I love the writing style of this too. It's gritty. It fits the tone. There are some really beautiful sentences scattered throughout, but it is very down to business and straightforward. And that encompasses a realization type moment we have there without 100% nailing it down. Alex has an assumption about someone else, and yeah, I really liked that. I will probably talk more about some of these tabs towards the end of this vlog when I do hit spoiler territory, but for now, vague is the way, baby. So yeah, this is me being on part 2, and this kind of threw me. So this is part 1, and this is how thick part 2 is. And I'm used to books being more evenly split, but then one thing you've got to consider when a book is more evenly split between part 1 and 2, and it's like half and half, is that that's not always organically done. Sometimes that's editing, sometimes that's the author structuring it heaps. Many different things come into that. So this feels more organic to the storyline, but I'm also feeling like we've got a lot left to do. We've got a lot left to achieve and to not die doing before the end of the book. So I am throwing a prediction out there. I'm predicting a big old cliffhanger. And I mean, the first book kind of did that, but it did it in a satisfying way. So I think this is going to be similar. Oh, and then my last little purple tab here was just a cat having a little highlighted moment. Oh, speaking of animals, hello. Hi, what's up? Okay, so yeah. Cosmo, hero. Anyway, so yes, I'm on page 410 without looking at spoilers. The book goes up to page 490. So I thought I was very, very nearly done, but I've still got about 80 pages to go. So yeah, I think these little tabs attest to the fact that I smashed through a large chunk of this book recently and I'm really enjoying it, and I need to finish it, and I will probably be finishing it very, very soon because that ain't a lot left to go. So that's my check-in. That's my book mail. If you've read this one yet, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you thought. The first short story in this was a poem by Joelle Schusterman, and I'm currently reading the short story Formidable, which is about Scythe Marie Curry, and I'm a couple of pages into that, and that's going down a treat because I really liked her in the original series. So yeah. The back of this just says, for years humans lived in a perfect world controlled by scythes. Just imagine the stories we don't know. So that's what we're getting in this, and I'm very excited. So yes, I read this on my break today instead of this. I actually took a different book, but I purposely didn't read this because I knew I had to update you before I finished it. So now I can go ahead and finish it, or nearly finish it, and let you know how I go. Cool. Hello. Okay, we're gonna close this vlog off, and then we're gonna get to that spoiler section. So let me just show you a bookish purchase that came in the mail after the Black Friday sales, and that is my new Song of Achilles t-shirt. It says, "We are made of memories." I love it so much. It's so comfy, and I will leave the shop linked down below. Really, really comfy shirts, and I just love the design so much. So much. Anyway, here we are. I finished Hellbent. It was a glorious time. I think straight off the bat I'm going to give it probably a 4.5 stars. For me, I still really, really enjoyed this one. I've sat with it for a little bit. It's been about a week or so since I finished this, and I'm going to say I think Ninth House topped it, but just. It was a very, very close thing. So I don't think this is going to disappoint people. It was still very, very good. Standout characters for me in this one were, Alex. I mean, it's a story about Alex, so she's of course going to come to the forefront. Really enjoyed her further development throughout this one and the things that she's learning about herself. I also really enjoyed Dawes. I think I said at the start that she was getting some moments, and she does. There's also a nod to her, which we will discuss in the spoiler section. And I liked as for the big bad, I didn't see who it was coming. I felt like there was a little bit of a gap between the whodunit and the person. The big bad didn't hit as much as I thought it would, whereas the first book, I think I enjoyed the big bad in the first book a bit better. We still have some questions that we don't have answers to from the first one, but Bardugo has kind of teased throughout this one again, so it's not like we just haven't heard about it. Ooh, Il Bastone, is that how I say the house's name? Maybe that The house. The house is one of my favourite characters of this book, which sounds so silly, but at the same time it doesn't, because some other authors have done this where they've got a place that has real presence about it, and it's got its own subconscious and it's magic, and I really, really, really loved the house in this and how it just provided and took care of the characters in certain different ways. Big standout for me. Love that. I also loved how the person from her past who comes back into this one, which I mentioned at the start of the vlog, I also really love where they end up at the end of this one. But again, splendidly written, like Leigh Bardugo, when she's not getting bogged down with M dashes like she did in King of Scars. This turned into a rant really quickly, but when she's not getting bogged down with grammatical little habits like that, which she doesn't in this one and she doesn't in Ninth House, she is at her peak. When she is gritty and raw and just punchy with her sentences, that's when she is at the top of her game, and she really is. I loved the prose throughout this. Not once did it pull me out of the story. It flowed right through me and I could just keep on going. But at the same time, there were some really beautiful sentences throughout this, and I hope that they stay in the finished copy. But yeah, a 4.5 stars for me. I'm going to fix it at that. Really, really love this. Keep an eye out for the finished copy. Well, probably now, because it's out now. Go grab it. If you want an occult book, dark academia, secret societies, dubious magic practices that the rich utilize to further their own gains, and have someone observe that and draw opinions about that, also excellently done. Go pick it up. But yeah, anyway, that was the book. That was my spoiler-free reading experience of this one. If you enjoyed this vlog, let me know in the comments down below, and also let me know if you're going to be picking it up or if you've read Ninth House and what your thoughts are. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to see you, spoiler-free friend, in my next video. But for my friends who want to be spoiled, we're going to do that now. So, spoilers for the rest of the video. You've been warned. That is spoilers from here on out for Hellbent, for Ninth House, for all of it. If you have not read both of these books and you don't want to be spoiled, see ya. But if you do, let's go. Okay, so remember how I was being really, really vague about those nods to certain people and about Leigh Bardugo bringing in urban fantasy elements? Do you remember that time when I was a little bit sweary and speechless at the same time?
No, she didn't. Did she?
Vampires. Fuck. She brought vampires in, and she brought that in pretty early on, and I was not expecting that. Even though it's urban fantasy, so I should be, because it's the uncanny brushing up against humanity. She did it, but she did vampires in her own way. So vampires in this are demons who have taken over essentially their host's body, and they've consumed their memories, they've consumed that person entirely, and now they are this thing. Terrifying, absolutely terrifying, because they don't necessarily just feed off blood, they feed off of different emotions. So at one point, when Alex and the gang go to hell, that was the quest I was talking about, they go to hell twice. When they go down there, they come back up and they each bring their own little demon with them. And they can feel them drawing on them, and when they start to feel melancholy, there's one that feeds off of happiness and euphoria. It was just a really intriguing way to include that urban fantasy element, but also make it the story's own. Also, the nod to something else within some characters, which I was super vague about, I can say now, Turner and his intuition. Wow, okay, I really, really loved that. I love how he's got this ability. He doesn't necessarily think that it's magical or that it's a particular ability. He just thinks it's like a skill that he just has of intuition, and when he talks to people, they open up and they tell the truth a little bit more than what they thought they would. That's really cool. Also, Dawes potentially being a witch. Yes, please. Can we explore that, Leigh, a little bit further in the third one? Because there's going to be a third one. Obviously, I still have questions. Like, for example, I'm pinballing all over the place, but that's fine. Like, for example, who is Alex's father? Because we're getting hints but they're not solid ones, and I'm really hoping that we get that in the third one, because that's the moment that I think will be a really big bang when we get that, if we get that. So yeah, I'm really liking those elements that are brought in, because it's so firmly grounded in reality, even though it is an urban fantasy book about magic and rituals and the occult. But it's so firmly in real life, because you've got all of these real life things in it, obviously, that when something like a vampire raises its head within the story, you sit back and you go, oh shit, okay. And you try and recalibrate to the world again. It's not that much that it's so shocking that it pulls you out of the story. It's just that it's a gentle nudge to remind you she can do what she wants within this. Here is the setting. Here's some classic elements, but with her own style. Favorite part of the novel, hands down, alongside that whole using magic for financial gain. Love that discussion too. Also, if you're wondering who that character was that I said the author made me absolutely hate and I'd only just met them, that would be Spencer, who is Trip's cousin, who is the reason why he can go down to hell. So in order for them to do the gauntlet, which is their whole quest to go down to hell, you need 4 murderers. Alex, who has killed when Helly possessed her and she took a baseball bat to the people in her old life. She can go down, she qualifies. Dawes can go down to hell because she killed, was it Blake? Whoever that really vile man was in Ninth House, who was using the magical substance to drug girls and take advantage of them. She can now access hell because she's killed. And then you have Turner, so that's why he comes into the story more, who I did really enjoy. I forgot to say that in the spoiler-free section. I really enjoyed bringing him back into the story, or continuing him through the story and seeing more from him, especially his intuition. You find out that he can go down because he's killed his old police partner because the guy was a thing, anyway. And then there's Trip, who from the first book we see is just someone kind of on the outskirts. He's in a society, but he's a little bit useless, or a lot useless, and they find out that he's murdered someone, and it turns out that it's his cousin, who is a vile person who actually tried to kill him once, and nobody saw that except for the cousin's own mother, who should have done something about it. Trip sees Spencer go overboard. They're out on a boat one day with family, and he goes overboard, and he doesn't do anything about it, and that's the dark stain on his own soul, which means he can also go down. But the hate I had for this character, and literally he'd been on page for 4 pages out of this whole book. I didn't even meet him in the first one because he wasn't there. Wow, I had rage. Oh, and then also Cosmo the cat when he jumps in front of the big bad. Yeah, I love familiars in stories. So animals that bond or are close with humans and they can sense the magic and they're in there. Cosmo is king. Love that. Just jumping back to the Dawes as a witch thing. I know that I can't quote because this is a ARC copy, but Alex has a thought and it's literally like, fuck me, Dawes is a witch. And when you read through that section and you just sit back again, this story has a really good way of making you sit back and go, fuck, that's a moment. Oh, and then right at the end, Trip. Trip's a vampire now, but he's retained some of himself because of his salt protector, which they do a spell earlier on, and they get like a salt protector which comes out and protects them against their demons. Because he's still got that inside of him, when his demon tracks him down and consumes him, he's still Trip, but he's vampire Trip. And oh my god, I'm here for it. I cannot wait to see where that goes, how she utilizes that, because I was thinking, we're at the end of the book, everything's wrapped up, yeah, okay, cool. And then she did that really satisfying thing that she did with Ninth House where she's got a little bit of a cliffhanger. Most of the stuff is wrapped up, but there's still lots of intrigue, and Trip was that. Trip was that for the end of the story. She just went, here, have a little taste of this, see what you think, and I'll see you in the next book. Is he going to become my favourite character in book 3? Maybe. But there you go. There's my stream of consciousness spoilers for you. Thank you if you stuck around and watched this part. I hope you do have a really good reading experience with this book if you're interested in it, because I thoroughly had a great time. That's gonna be it. So chuck a like on this video. Thank you for watching. If you want to see me do more little spoiler breakdowns at the end of my reading vlogs, let me know in the comments down below. And I'll see you there. See you next time.